and welcome to another edition of the How to Grow Your E-Commerce Business podcast. As ever, I'm here with my partner in crime, Tom. Tom, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I thought we might talk about email today, Trevor.
So email. Does anyone still use email, Tom?
In this age of WhatsApp, less so, I would imagine. I don't know about you, but all my kind of chatting with friends is done on WhatsApp, and I still have a personal email and I use it for a lot less, but I still look at it. And
well, do you know what? I'm going to slightly dispute that and say that emails actually there's still billions and billions of emails sent every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still hugely popular, and I think it's it's still one of the best ways of attracting people back to your site. And of all the email marketing things you can do, it probably has the best return on investment. I mean, I think you're right in saying
fundamentally free. No, but it's true that people use email less, but it is also true that email is a very successful and cost-effective way of reaching not just your existing customers, but also people who have gone onto your website and expressed an interest in what you do. So, it's particularly good for talking to your existing customers, but the cost of doing it are extremely low. It's practically free to send an individual email. You do need to get some kind of email platform. We'll talk about those probably later, I'd imagine. But we've seen with a client just recently, so over Black Friday, in fact, that the client said to me, why has the website done so much better than Amazon this year? And when I looked into it, you could see that for the whole of kind of October, November, until midway through November, the website and Amazon were kind of doing roughly the same as each other. And then, from middle of November, the website just went ballistic, and Amazon went up. Amazon kind of doubled, and that was pretty good. But the website went up by a factor of 5. And when I looked into it, you could see the individual spikes on the daily track from emails, and it was emails that was driving all of the incremental sales compared to Amazon. So if you've got a good email address book, then it's a huge asset to your business.
I think you kind of hit the nail. Another good point about email there, because the thing is about email that if you sell on a website, you own the customer, and you can market them as you like. So you've got their email address, you can collect it, and you can send things to them. Now on Amazon, you don't have that. You can't actually message them. In fact, it's against Amazon's rules. Now I believe that in the future, Amazon is talking about launching an internal email program. So you will begin to have those kind of facilities in Amazon, but at the moment, you can't do that on pain of having your account shut down. So don't do it, boys and girls. So email is is a very powerful way of bringing people back to the website.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about the different types of emails. So obviously, if you're an e-commerce seller, there's different. There's the transactional emails, the kind of emails you send to people to keep them up to date with the order process. I mean, people really expect this, and in fact, you're just allowed to send emails to people as part of the order process. You have a legitimate reason for doing it. And then there's marketing style emails, and what we mean by that is broadcast emails where say you have a campaign, where you have an offer, someone sign up to your list and you send it out to them, or there's emails which so-called flow emails, where you would set up a sequence of emails based around events. So that could be, for example, it's 6 months since the last purchase. You send them a flow which is called a win-back flow, where you say, please come back to the site, here's a discount. Or you can do things like an abandoned cart flow, where they've gone to the site, they've added something to the basket and haven't purchased it, and it sends them a series of emails to encourage them to come back. So there's different ways that you can use email. So Tom, tell us more about the best ways of sending emails. What platforms to use?
Well, like everything, there's a million different platforms out there. We obviously recommend people to use Shopify as a website. We've talked about Shopify in the past. Shopify has its own inbuilt email system, which is absolutely fine and pretty cheap. We have found that when we have shifted people from the Shopify system onto a standalone system, that the conversion rate of those emails has improved. So I don't actually know why, I haven't been able to fully understand that point, but we certainly get much better open rates and response rates on on emails that come out of other systems. So the two that we probably have most familiarity with, and the two of the biggest in the market, are MailChimp, which a lot of you will know well, and Klaviyo, spelt with a K if you're looking for it. Both of them are pretty good. You know, they will have, they've both got really good integrations into platforms like Shopify, so the two talk to each other. Both of them allow you to set up flows. You can set up some fairly basic flows in Shopify, but you can do much more in both MailChimp and Klaviyo.
Yeah, they're much more powerful. I don't know. It might be with Shopify. I don't know how they send their emails, whether they send from the Shopify domain or your own domain. I don't know how it's done.
As far as I recall, I might be wrong on this. You can stick in the address that you want those emails to go from, so it looks like you.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, there's probably something to do with the because a lot of the issues with email and shared servers as to whether the deliverability of messages that come from something like MailChimp might just be better than something like Shopify.
I think it is. You do the abandoned cart email we tend to leave within Shopify, and if you do no other email, then do an abandoned cart email. So that is for people who have almost completed the purchase and have either left their email address in there or have registered it for an email at an earlier date, and they just, for whatever reason, haven't completed. So if you do nothing else, just set that thing up and it will just deliver a steady stream of business that you would have lost otherwise. It is just free money. So please do that.
What would you say? Okay, let's talk about collecting emails. What are the considerations you need when you're collecting people's emails? What do you have to? Do you need to get permission? What do you have to make sure you do?
Well, there's this law called GDPR, which stands for, I'm going to get it wrong. It's
I just don't know.
Remember what it's
I have no idea.
It's called GDPR, and you have to be careful. It's about personal privacy. It's data protection is what it stands for. General Data Protection Regulations. That's what it stands for. And it came in probably, was it 2016, 17, that kind of time. And it just applied a whole load of regulations to people who want to do exactly what we're talking about, sending out emails. Fundamentally, you either have to have somebody's approval to send them an email, or you need a valid business reason to do it. Now, sending out marketing emails is a valid business reason. So you could argue that you don't need approval to send people emails. Now, it's often a good thing to do, because what you want is those customers to like you enough to buy stuff from you. So if you cheese them off by bombarding them with spam, they're not going to buy from you. So it's just counterproductive. But think about and understand the GDPR considerations in particular. So once you've understood those, then one really good way of getting people to sign up for emails is having a pop-up. I'm sure you've all seen it when you've gone onto sites where you've been on the site and you can set the amount of time, but let's say for 30 seconds, and a pop-up set comes up saying, would you like to sign up for our newsletter? And quite often that comes with a discount, 10% off your first purchase or something like that. And you would be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't if you're doing this already, but by how many people sign up, express an interest in your products and don't buy anything. So these are people who, they're on your list once you've got their email. They're warm leads. They're not cold leads. They're people who have said, yes, I'm interested in you.
Well, I think it's interesting to point here that the reason that people that businesses give people a 10% discount on email is because one of the things that having a big mailing list is an asset to a company, and they're willing to spend money to get it. And actually, when valuing a company, the size of the email list is something that people look at.
Yeah.
So it's very important, though. You don't have to put an incentive. You will still get people. You'll get a lot more people signing up if you have an incentive. Then, of course, a lot of people like me just sign up to get the incentive and then unsubscribe again.
Well, you are quite diligent at your unsubscribing, and you do love a free trial and a free offer, and you're one of the few people who's really good at switching it off once it's finished. So.
Well, I'm yes, I do love a free trial and a free offer. I have come unstuck at various points, but yes. So pop-ups, what else? We talked about incentives to sign up. What about the checkout? What do you have to? Would you recommend having a checkout?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. So, I mean, you'll all have seen this on the checkout screen. You have boxes there, which is subscribe me. Do you want to subscribe to emails? Are you happy to be sent emails? And people word it in different ways, but fundamentally, it's a really good place to put it, because people are engaging with you, that have bought from you, so that they're feeling happy towards you at that point.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a grey area whether you're supposed to have it pre-ticked or not. I think if you're being very careful, you wouldn't.
I think it's probably more black and white than grey, that you shouldn't do it.
Well, I don't know. I'm a little bit. I mean, the thing is, I think as long as you're respectful of people's information, you'll be all right. I mean, but they don't quote me on that.
Which isn't necessarily something that would hold up in court, but
no. But you've got to remember, if you're an e-commerce, a relatively small e-commerce seller, right? You're not the people they're looking after are the people who are harvesting millions of emails.
Yeah.
Right. That's the people, or Facebook or someone like that, who are really taking the piss. If you are, just and if you are, sending people who bought from you and you pre-tick the box, you will get an awful lot more people sign up. Though you've got to tell. I mean, the problem with the pre-selecting it also is people may not realize they've signed up, and they get this email and they get upset and they'll send it to spam. So that may be a problem with it. So your spam rate will go up. So you've got to look at that. So what about?
Well, I was just about to talk about. I mean, we talk about emails, but text messages, SMS, it is also a way of reaching customers, and the conversion rates tend to be better, which I think is because people just don't get as many texts. It's maybe a bit more personal. It comes through, on your phone. You get a notification. It's something you're looking at all the time. So
yes, you can do SMS. Yeah, you can do SMS.
We haven't done a lot of it ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think we need to do more of it, because it's another way of reaching people where they are kind of actually showing attention, which is their phones.
Indeed, I think also WhatsApp. I mean, the businesses are starting to launch. WhatsApp has launched business channels that people can subscribe to, and I think that's going to be big, because I mean, in China, it's WeChat is the biggest app, and that is all about. That's a WhatsApp style app, and that's, I think, what everyone's hero Elon Musk was trying to do. Turn Twitter into the everything app, which people pay through and everything.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to get there.
I think he's heading in the wrong direction for that, but that's
yes. I think he is. I think he is heading in the wrong direction for that.
Okay. Well, how do you maximize kind of the deliverability of emails, Trevor?
Well, you need to spend. Okay, so deliverability is really important, right? So you need to, and I'm only going to touch on some of the things that you need to set your mails account. You need to set your emails up carefully. There's a series of authentication steps, which I can't remember off the top of my head, that the attributes you need to add to your domain, which will verify the email. And you'll go, if you go into like MailChimp, it will have a series of steps you need to go through. You need to make sure you do that. By not, if you get double opt-in for things, so opt-in means that you add them to the list, and then they get a second email, which they then have to verify. You will have fewer people in your list, but they will be of a higher quality. And what you want to try and avoid is lots of people marking you as spam. And so, what happens is the email inbox providers like Gmail, like Microsoft, they basically mark email domains, and they mark IP, people who send emails. And if they see that you're sending too much spam, or it gets, too many things are, rejected as spam, then they will blacklist your domain, and things will go straight into the spam box. So you need to watch the percentage of things that, make sure you're and also too many things bounce. So if you've got too many old emails that are bouncing, or too many emails that haven't opened, all these things, I'll look at that and I'll think, oh, this is a bad actor, and I'll start to downgrade your emails. So you need to keep your so-called list hygiene. So remove old people, remove emails that are bouncing, remove and send relevant emails to people who have opted in, and then then you should that should keep your deliverability high. And also say go through the setup stages that your mail provider recommends. So Tom, tell me about, okay, so now we've talked about really kind of setting up, collecting emails. We've talked about the deliverability, writing emails. What is best practice for writing emails?
Well, remember that people are busy, and get to the point. No one's going to read an essay from you. It is okay to send people emails that are information only and for education rather than kind of an offer or something like that. But it's got to be short and interesting and punchy and something they can skim through pretty quickly, because you're taking up their time. And if it's too long, they're just going to forget about it. You obviously generally want them to click through to your site. So you need to put in links to your site. The more times you put those in, the better. You can put them at the top, the middle, the end, or at several points through the middle. So
they don't have to scroll back. The same link multiple times as opposed to lots of different links. So just have
correct.
Keep it on one theme. Don't have too many offers on the same email.
Yeah, and when you're creating a link, think about which page you want to link it through to. So, do you want to create an email landing page with maybe a specific offer on it? So, or think about where you're sending them and make it relevant to the copy in the email. I think, as I said, people are willing to read stuff from you. If they're interested enough to sign up without buying, they probably want to hear something from you. So make your emails interesting, educational, and keep them as far away from spam as you can. And think about the words you use as well, because a lot of email systems have filters in them. So if you use words like, I don't know, Viagra, or the kind of thing that, you know what I mean? My spam is full of, maybe it's my age, but get free or low cost Viagra through the post and stuff like that. And it all just goes straight into spam. So if you're using any of those kind of spammy type words, the chances are they might go through to spam. So use proper words and keep it to sensible content. And just think a little bit about what you're saying and make sure it's not too spammy, because if it is too spammy, it will get classed as spam. You can send frequently. It has been said that you cannot send too many emails. Now, what too many emails means, it probably varies from person to person, but one a week is not frequent. One a day is probably getting close to being frequent.
I think it's fair to say most brands don't send out enough emails.
Yeah.
I think that is what that means. You can't send them out. I mean, you obviously can send them out too frequently, but I think most brands don't. I mean, sending out, you should be sending out one a week at least.
Yeah, at least.
Not more.
Yeah. And keep an eye on the percentage of people who are unsubscribing from your list. That's a sign that you're sending out either the wrong content or too much. If you send out a big email and loads of people unsubscribe as a result, you're probably doing it wrong. Offers via email work really well. So you can set up your emails so that if someone clicks through on the link, then it automatically applies a discount code. That can be a good way of doing it. That can improve your conversion rate. So we've seen huge success with clients where there's not even a huge offer, save 10%, save 15%, but just timed at the right time. That can be a really good thing to do. And make sure that whatever you want your customer to do, make it clear and obvious. So what is the call to action? Ask yourself that for each email. Don't just send out an email because you think I've not sent out one this week. Think, what do I actually want my customers to do? Do I want them just to read it? Do I want them to go to the site? Do I want them to buy something? Think about what your aims are and make sure your calls to action are clear. So, Trevor, you're our email guru. What would you do? What would you do today if you just set up a website and you didn't do anything else? What's the one thing?
Okay, so I think it's important to start building your list as soon as possible, right? So have a pop-up. I personally would probably pre-tick the box on the checkout. Start building up your list, right? Set up your abandoned cart emails, because that is the biggest. So I think that, I can't remember what the figures are, but you will win if you set up an abandoned cart email. So that sends out an email to people that didn't complete the checkout. Then a proportion of those people will check out. I mean, I can't remember. It might be as high as 10%, but it would be it's for no cost you'll get extra sales.
We've seen across clients it is between 5 and 10%.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, it's
you know,
absolute
6, 7%,
no-brainer.
you could.
Absolute no-brainer. I would also look at your transactional emails and make sure that the messaging on those is good. You know, have the, you know, make sure you've got branding on them, and you've got links. You know, you've customized your transactional emails. And finally, I would think about do some of this simple flows. So a flow would be something like, you know, someone signs up to your account, to your mailing list. You know, you send them a, you know, and, you know, typically you'd have a welcome flow, which what it says, you know, try and get that second order from them. You send them a series of emails which you know, introduces yourself and then says, okay, here's a discount, you know, for a product, and to get them to do that second order. Another one would be a win back flow, where you email people after, say, 3 months or something, and get them to do a flow. So I think it get them to do a purchase. So I think that they are, you know, the simple things to get you started, particularly if you're not collecting email addresses. Start doing it today, because
Yeah.
you know, it takes time, and it's an asset for your business.
Yeah. So my only other thought is email doesn't work for everyone. So, you know, Trevor and I ran a baby retailer. We didn't get a lot from email at all, even when we, you know, sent out regular emails. Quite a little bit is worth doing, but only just. Whereas there's other businesses which, you know, really is the key thing that powers their business forward. So if you have kind of either products that are repeat products, or if they are kind of desire-based products, or if they're need-based, where you're showing people things that they don't necessarily know exist, then all those kind of things can really create good returns. So, you know, let's say you make, I don't know, golf equipment, and each week or each month you dangle your latest sexy club in front of your email list, then those people are going to, you know, hopefully feel that desire and think, yeah, I really want that. So think about how your customers behave, and how you can best use email to either awake their desire or their need. So, you know, for instance, we've got a client who make products for, you know, people with Alzheimer's and dementia. You know, most people wouldn't know these products exist, but if when we put them in front of people, they see them and go, God, that'd be really useful for my nan. So think about who you're going to email.
I had a friend who ran a company selling knitting patterns, and they got most of the sales from email. I mean, because it's a thing, this month's knitting patterns, buy these, you know, they just wanted to make knitting.
Yeah.
So it does work. So Tom, what are you got, is the inspirational part of the podcast, where we have to, you know, reveal what's inspired you recently. What has inspired you recently?
Well, I was quite inspired. I went with some friends and a good lady wife to theatre show down in St Albans Amphitheatre, which is kind of the ruins of a Roman amphitheatre, but there's quite a lot of it left. And it was A Christmas Carol, the classic Charles Dickens story, so quite kind of seasonal. But there's only 4 of them who ran this whole show, and 4 actors, and they just worked really hard. They did something like 4 shows a day, and they rotated who they played, apart from Scrooge, who stayed as Scrooge, but they just put so much effort into it. And I just thought it's a really good lesson for how, with a small team, you can make yourself appear bigger than you are. It's only at the end when they took the bow, so I thought, there is only 4. So I think we're not the biggest company, you know, there's more of us than 4, but not that many more. And I think you can make yourself appear bigger than you are if you just work at it, and hopefully we do that, and
do more with less. So I'm looking. I for some reason I've got something stuck up in front of me about Ernest Shackleton, who's one of my heroes. So I think I know he's a great hero, but he's also, I mean, he was a bit insane. All his exploring was a bit insane. But you can get a Lego have just produced a Lego version of his ship of the Endurance.
Is it when it was floating, or is it now that
it's very much it's before, it's not in its present state. So yeah, I don't think I'm getting that for Christmas, but I was I was inspired by it. Though, do you know, having said that, I mean, I think, you know, going to the South Pole was such a lunatic thing to do. I think we need to remember that it was pretty spectacularly dangerous, and it was so lucky to get back. But that's why it's such a great story. At any one point, they could have gone totally tits up, and it very nearly did. It was so lucky.
I do find that inspiring. Essentially, they went to the South Pole and, you know, wearing tweeds fundamentally. So that was their cold weather gear, and then they all died.
They must have been so cold. I mean, the thing is, I imagine myself. I imagine myself as an Arctic explorer in another life, you know what? But when it gets below about 10 degrees, I'm quite cold.
Yes.
Imagine 30 below. So it was a bit. I was reading a book about him. So they were making their way back. So they had no food. They were skin and bone, 1,000 miles from anywhere. It was -40, and they had the shits. I mean, does life get any worse than that? And they were,
It really doesn't.
I mean, anyway.
Well, thank you for sharing that thought with us.
Merry Christmas, Tom.
I think on that note, Merry Christmas. See you next year.
Bye.